Best scene, killing Moses. Interior antique shop, mid-morning. The inside of the antique shop is filled with large, heavy pieces of furniture, rugs, and paintings. A small bronze bell hanging on the door chimes his entrance. Moses browses the furniture pieces while making his way back to the rear of the shop.
I'll be right with you.
Take your time. I've just got a few questions I hope you can help me answer.
Moses continues to browse the furniture, but stops in front of a short dresser with elaborate detail and gold ornamentation.
I see you're admiring the Louis XV or Molu Bombe. A much better choice than the Louis XIV, in my humble opinion. Between you and me, I find the 14th collection much more ornate and, dare I say, gaudy.
Moses turns to meet the shop proprietor. The shopkeeper is short and rotund with a pencil-thin mustache and a full head of thick silver hair, dressed impeccably in a cream-colored linen suit with a silky paisley scarf tied around his neck. Moses smiles and shakes his hand.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Armond Fontenot, owner of this fine establishment. The pleasure is mine, I'm sure. And who are you?
I'm Moses Byone.
Very well, Mr. Byone. Byone. Byone is not a name common to these parts. Perhaps you are of a New Orleans stock, a line of General de Collier, perhaps?
I don't know about stock, but yeah, man, I'm from New Orleans, born and raised.
Well, how may I be of service to you, Mr. Byone?
I was referred to you by a friend of mine. He recently bought a painting from you, and I was hoping to find something like his.
Now, why didn't you just say so? Let us go and take a look at the paintings and see what we can do for you.
Armand hooks a meaty arm through the detectives and leads Moses to the rear wall of the shop that is lined with paintings, both large and small. They stop in front of a larger painting of a half-nude young man seated on a stone bench.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've always been a fan of the Baroque. Caravaggio painted numerous scenes of St. John the Baptist in the wilderness, as you know. This one, number 3, happens to be my favorite. See the way the lights and darks out contrast off of John? What I find most interesting is how the darkness covers his face while his body is bathed in light. He killed a man, you know.
John the Baptist?
No, sir, Caravaggio. 'Tis true. He painted most of his Baptist works while he was in exile in Malta, most likely after 1606.
Well, that is fascinating, Mr. Fontenot. But what I'm really interested in is the painting like my friend's. It is of a young woman, a Creole, I think. She's got a red scarf tied around her head. That sound familiar?
I believe you're speaking of the Creole in the red headdress by Jacques-Guillaume Lucien Amans. Amans was significant in that the breadth of his business enterprises was rivaled only by his amazing artistic abilities. He painted many portraits of the nobility and the wealthy, but the Creole stands out in his repertoire. If that is what you truly desire, I'm positive I can locate another copy for you.
A copy?
My dear man, these are no real Caravaggios, and that was certainly no real Amans. The original of the work is in the Muséum National d'Histoire Naturelle in Paris. I assure you that furniture pieces in my shop are of the utmost authenticity, but there are in the vast difference between an authentic Louis XIV gold-plated commode chest and a true original artiste work. My paintings are, alas, immaculate reproductions. Surely your friend would have known this. What did you say his name was?
I didn't say, but it was Jefferson Collingwood.
I see.
And I'm not his friend. I'm a private investigator hired by his wife to investigate his death.
Armand braces himself against his desk that sits off to the side of the wall of paintings. While he is still quite unsure of the detective, he is visibly shaken by the news of Jefferson's death.
He's dead?
So you did know him?
Of course I knew Jefferson. I've known the Collingwoods for the better part of 40 years. His mother, God rest her sweet soul, bought several of my pieces some years ago to decorate their home up in Oxford when Jefferson's father was still teaching at the university. At that time, I happened to be in possession of a handcrafted bridal trousseau armoire, French provincial restoration piece. It was magnificent. Oh, the artistry, the detail. Needless to say, Barbara fell in love with it, and I with her. We remained great friends until she passed. I just cannot believe Jefferson is dead. Oh, Mr. Byone, detective, please tell me that he did not meet with a violent end.
There was a fire at the upstairs lounge, a gay bar down in New Orleans. Can I ask you, when was the last time you saw him?
I was with him in the upstairs lounge not 1 week ago, as a matter of fact. We were having celebratory cocktails with his lady friend, Alexis Beaureparis. I normally do not frequent such establishments myself, not being inclined to rub elbows with, shall we say, less fortunate. But Mrs. Beaureparis insisted. You see, Detective, Jefferson bought that painting for her.
Where did they see the painting? Here or in New Orleans?
Why, they saw it right here in this shop.
So both of them were here, together.
Armand's mood darkens considerably. He stands up, done with the morning routine, and faces Moses.
Yes, they were here, Detective. And before you ask, no, I did not know Mrs. Beaureparis that well. I only had the 2 occasions to see her, and I cannot provide you with further details of their acquaintanceship. I only know that she resides somewhere in the Vieux Carré. Now, excuse me, I'll have to mourn the loss of my dear, dear friend in private.
Well, thank you. For that much at least. I guess I'll be in touch if anything else pops into my mind.
Moses turns and walks back through to the front of the shop. He stops in front of the piece he had admired when he first came in. He looks back to Armand, who is watching him from behind the desk and wearing a much darker expression.
Just out of curiosity, how much does something like this dresser go for?
More than I care to admit to you, Mr. Byone. But one more thing. In your future interrogations, you may think to dispense with the subterfuge and get straight to the meat of the matter.
Look, buddy, I'm paid to find out things that people don't want found out. The same is true for your so-called good friend Jefferson. That is just what I intend to do.
Then I would a word of caution, sir. Tread lightly, Detective, lest you find out just how deep the rabbit hole goes.